Hey guys, it's Goals and Cubes, and today I'm going to teach you how to solve a 4x4. I'm going to be teaching a method called the reduction method. In the reduction method, the steps are you solve the centers, then the edges, and then solve it like a 3x3. In the 3x3 stage, there's a couple extra steps that you'll need to do. So let's get right into notations. The 4x4 obviously has one more layer than a normal 3x3 cube. So when I'm giving you notations for turning the extra layer, just like this, I'm going to add a W. So it's exactly the same, except there's an added W. So for example, a UW would be like this. An RW would be like this. And I'm also going to have normal 3x3 notations for when we're just turning the outer layers. Alright, so let's get right into it. So, the first thing you gotta do is solve the centers. And the first part to doing that is solving two opposite centers. Now I'm going to assume this is the first 4x4 method you're going to learn. So you're probably a beginner at solving the cube, and chances are you solve on the white or yellow side. So we're going to make the white and yellow centers first. So there's already a bar right there, so we don't really need to worry about that. Let's just keep it in the bottom. So what we can do is line this piece right here up with that piece. And to do that, so just across from each other, we can do a UW too. And there we go. Then we can just turn the bottom of the way and bring that down. Just like that. Alright. And there's also, so we've solved white, and we'll just can keep it on the bottom for now. I can already see that on top, there's a yellow bar, so that can kind of help us. So what we can do is we have to line up the next two bars, or line up the next two center pieces to make another bar. So if we just do an F, UW prime, it'll line up that bar. Now, so we need to get to the top. We can't just turn it upwards like this, because that messes up the white center. So instead, line it up like this. So the two center kind of strips are right on top and in bottom of each other. Then all we need to do is RW, U2, RW prime. And it gets those on top. So just one more time. We just RW, U2, RW prime. And that works same on the other side. So you can just do an LW prime, U2, LW. Just like that. Alright, so one thing you may notice about a 4x4 is unlike a 3x3, it doesn't have a set center piece. What I mean by that is a 3x3, no matter what I do, the orange center is always going to be opposite the red center. Just like that. So no matter what type of turns I do, orange is still opposite from red. But on a 4x4, as you can see, that's not always the case. Right now, there is no middle center to judge by. So, see? So we're going to have to memorize the color scheme. If I have a normal 3x3 right here, I know that white is always opposite yellow, orange is always opposite red, and blue is always opposite green. So, but that's not quite enough. If I have white on top and orange in front, green is always going to be on the right side. You can't just switch two opposite centers and have the rest of the cube the same. But if I flip it around, yellow on top, orange in front, then green will be on my left. So in a 4x4, just if you're having trouble memorizing color scheme, there is a solution. What you can do is bring a white corner down so it matches the center like that, and use that to judge. So orange must go right there to match the corner, and blue must be right here to match the corner. So start by building the orange center. So this part's really easy. We can just line this piece up with that piece, just like that. And I like to turn it to my left side because I like to turn the right side of the cube easier when I'm building centers. So now we have to line up the next centerpiece. So right here, We have to line that up with that. Now, it's pretty intuitive. You just turn the front like that and line those up. And do another F prime and line it up again. So now that we have the orange center in, what we can do now, so we had this corner there before, so the orange matches, which means it's in the right spot. Now we need to build the blue side. So there's already 3 right there. So look ahead will be pretty easy. We know where to find them. So to bring it up here, we can't just turn it up and ignore the orange center because it'll break it. So after you build your 3rd center, you always need to kind of fix what you do. So I turn this up. I've turned this out of the way so I can turn this left side back down like that. Just kind of show you what happens. And again, you can't just turn it up like that because it messes up the orange center. So just like what we did with our 2nd center earlier on the yellow side, line up those 2 strips and do R or RW, U2, RW prime. So now we're on to the last 2, and it's pretty obvious which goes where. We can't build the green side right there because blue is not next to green. So what we're going to do is build the red center right there. So now when you just have 3 edges or centers right there, it is pretty easy. All you need to do is turn this down, just like that. Do an F, and do LW prime, and it lines it up. So just like this. An alternative is to do an RW, U, RW prime, if you don't want to do F moves. Just like that. So now we'll be moving on to edges. So edges, you just need to know 2 algorithms. So one algorithm you're going to be using most of the time, and the other you're not going to be using very much at all. So what we need to do is look at the bottom left edge right here. I see that it is orange and white. So after I figure out what color that is, I need to find the other orange and white edge. So it's right there on the bottom. Now I need to set it up so that it's right there in the diagonal spot from this orange and white edge. So what I can do is just bring it up like that. So now when I slice over like this and do UW, it matches. Now I can't just leave it like that. So there's an algorithm for that. So when they're diagonal from each other, you do as follows. UW, L prime, U, L, UW prime. Just like that. And solve the orange and white edge. And make sure that we solve our centers again as well. Alright, let's look for our next edge. The green and red. Okay, so here's the other one, right across from it. It's on the right side of the cube, except upside down. It should be right there. So there's an easy algorithm for this called an edge flip. And it goes as follows. R, U, R prime, F, R prime, F prime, R. As you can see, it's in the right spot. Then we can do the algorithm again. U, L prime, U, L, U prime. So on to the next edge. Yellow and red. It's right there. Okay, we need the edge flip algorithm again. R, U, R prime, F, R prime, F prime, R. So, and also another tip. When you're slicing over and doing the algorithm, a solved edge can never be in the top right spot. Because look what happens if I do it. It messes up the green edge. We got the yellow and red edge, but we messed up our green edge as well. Green and red edge. So we can't do that. So when we do it, we have to make sure there's not a solved edge on top on the right side. Just turn it like that, and now we can do the algorithm. Alright, so blue and white is next, because we can tell by looking right there. We just insert it like that, and do the algorithm. But first I have to make sure there's not a solved edge. So, see in the back, there's an unsolved edge I can move. And there we go. Orange and blue is next. So it is right there. Now when you do the edge flip algorithm. Okay, it's ready to go because there's not a solved edge above it. Okay, green and yellow is next. It's right there. So we just do D2R. It's already set up for us. That's nice. Orange and yellow is next. So we can just do DR. Again, it's set up. That's nice. Alright, so now we have only 4 edges left. Set up for us. Okay, and now we're on the last 2. This is where it gets a little, not really tricky. So you already learned the algorithm for it, except we need to do a setup move first. So the way you hold it is so that the blue and red edge is directly across from the other blue and red edge. It won't always be like that. It might be yellow and red or something like that. Just make sure that the 2 same edges are directly across from each other. Same with the bottom ones. So to do the algorithm, we just do a UW prime, and then the edge flip algorithm. RU R prime F R F prime R. Then do a UW, and that solves them. We'll just do it one more time, or show you an example. It's not always going to be the blue and red, obviously. So now we have green red is across from the other green red. White red is across from the other white red. So UW prime, RU R prime F prime R prime F prime R. Oh, I think I said that wrong. I'll put the algorithms in the bottom left corner. And there you have it. You have all the centers solved and all the edges solved, and now you solve it just like a 3x3 because, well, everything else is like a 3x3. Look, just like a 3x3, you have your centers that are matching, and these 2 edges represent 1 edge on a 3x3, and the corners obviously represent the corners on a 3x3. So let's just get going. Let's solve the white cross. I shouldn't have to teach you how to solve a 3x3 because if you're using this tutorial, I assume you already know how to solve a 3x3. Now, the tutorial isn't over yet because there is some special cases that can happen in the 3x3 stage. Okay, here's the first one. It's called parity. On a 3x3, when you're on the OLL stage, you can never have 3 edges orientated. It's literally impossible. You can have 2 or 0 or 4, but never 3 or 1. So this is probably the hardest algorithm you're going to learn for this tutorial, but there's kind of a pattern to it. The algorithm is as follows: RW prime U2, LW F2, LW prime F2, RW U2, RW U2, RW prime U2, F2, RW U2, F2. And just like that, you flipped the edge. Then just solve the rest of the OLL as follows. And here is the last case, PLL parity. This one is a lot easier to learn than OLL parity, so don't worry. It's almost like a pattern. On a 3x3, this could never happen. So when you do this algorithm, I'm going to say RW a lot. Do not turn the outside layer when I say that, okay? Because if you do, you're going to mess up the cube. So here we go. RW2, U2, RW, U2, UW2, RW2, UW2. You just do the AUF. That is how you solve 4x4, guys. So if you have any questions, I'll be really happy to help you guys out in the comments. I'll try to answer them as fast as I can. And I'd really appreciate, if you like my content, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. So I'll see you in my next video, guys.